Welcome to English B School. We're in the Hive. I am B and I'm here with J. Today we're diving into something that trips up so many English learners, the dreaded how are you?
Oh man, B, do I have a story for you about this? So last month, I was at this tech conference in Bangalore, right? And I meet this American guy from Silicon Valley.
I can already tell where this is going.
Exactly. So he walks up to me, super casual, and goes, "Hey Jay, how are you doing?" And I'm thinking, okay, this guy genuinely wants to know how I'm doing.
Oh no, no.
Oh no. So I launched into this whole 5 minute monologue. I told him about how my startup is struggling with funding, my mother's knee surgery, the monsoon traffic that made me late.
Oh my god.
I even mentioned my cousin's wedding preparations and how expensive everything is getting. I mean, I gave him my entire life update, complete with financial stress.
Let me guess. His face went from friendly smile to complete panic and he started looking around for an escape route.
Exactly. By minute 3, he was literally backing away slowly. Poor guy probably just wanted to grab his coffee and network with other people, and instead he got my autobiography.
Day. This is such a perfect example of what linguists call a culture clash. You experienced what happens when two completely different conversation styles collide. In Indian culture, when someone asks, how are you? We often give genuine, detailed responses because we value relationship building and sharing our lives.
Right, exactly. Like if my neighbor asks me that question, I'm going to tell them what's actually happening in my life, right?
Exactly. But apparently, that's not how it works everywhere. And that brings us to today's big concept, which might sound fancy, but I promise it's not. Phatic communication.
Attic, what now?
Phatic communication. It sounds intimidating, but it's basically social language that's not about sharing actual information. It's about maintaining social connection and showing you're friendly.
So when that American guy asked, "How are you?" he wasn't actually asking for information about my life, right?
Exactly. In global English, especially in professional or casual settings, how are you is what I like to call a vocal handshake. It's a way of acknowledging someone's presence and showing you're friendly and approachable, not a medical inquiry about their actual well being.
But B, I have to be honest, this feels so fake to me. Like, what if I'm actually not good? What if I had a terrible morning with traffic or I'm worried about something? Am I supposed to just lie and say I'm great?
I totally get that feeling, Jay. So many English learners struggle with this because it feels dishonest or inauthentic. But here's the thing, it's not about being fake, it's about understanding the social contract.
Social contract?
Think of it this way, when someone says, how are you, in a casual setting, they're really saying, I see you, I acknowledge you, we're having a friendly moment. And when you respond with, good, thanks, how about you? You're saying, I see you too, I'm participating in this social ritual, and now it's your turn.
That actually makes more sense when you put it that way. It's like social lubrication, like making the gears of conversation run smoothly.
Perfect analogy. And Jay, if you're genuinely having a rough day, you can still be authentic. Instead of launching into a detailed explanation, you could say something like, been better, but hanging in there. How about you? That's honest, but still appropriate for the context.
Oh, that's actually really helpful. So it's about reading the room and matching the energy level of the conversation.
Exactly. Context is everything. Now, let's get practical. I'm going to put you in three super common real world scenarios, and we'll role play how these exchanges actually work in different settings.
All right, I'm ready. But please go easy on me. I'm still recovering from my conference trauma.
Scenario 1, the elevator. Jay, you're getting into an elevator at your office building. I'm a colleague you recognize but don't know super well. The elevator ride is maybe 30 seconds. Here we go. Elevator ding. Oh, hey Jay.
Oh, hi there. How's it going?
Good, good. Crazy busy week though. You?
Same here. Really looking forward to the weekend. Which floor are you headed to?
7th. Thanks. Have a good one.
You too.
Perfect. Jay, that was textbook elevator small talk. Short, friendly, and you even transitioned to something practical. Let's try scenario 2, the coffee line. I'm a regular at the same cafe you go to every morning.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this.
Jay, good morning. How are you today?
Hey there, not too bad, thanks. Just desperately need my caffeine fix. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. I can't even function without my morning coffee. This line's moving pretty slowly today, huh?
Yeah, must be the Monday morning rush. At least it gives us time to wake up properly.
Exactly. Well, I hope your day goes smoothly.
Thanks, you too.
Excellent. You're really getting this, Jay. Notice how you acknowledged the shared experience, kept it light, and even made it positive. Last scenario, the hallway. You're walking past someone's office and they look up from their computer.
Got it. This one should be quick, right?
Oh, Jay, how's your day treating you?
Pretty good so far, thanks. Hope yours is going well too. See you later.
You too, take care. Perfect. Jay, you absolutely nailed all three scenarios. The key is reading the context. Elevator chats are brief and functional. Coffee line conversations can be a bit longer since you're both waiting anyway. And hallway exchanges are usually quick acknowledgements as people are clearly busy.
This is actually way less stressful than I thought it would be. But B, what should people actually talk about in these situations? I always panic about what to say next and end up either saying nothing or, well, oversharing like at the conference.
Such a great question. Let me give you three absolutely safe small talk topics that work everywhere. Number one, the weather. I know it sounds boring and cliched, but it's universal and completely safe.
Like, nice weather today, or can you believe this heat?
Exactly. Beautiful morning, isn't it? Or hope this rain stops soon. Everyone experiences weather, so everyone can relate. Number two, your commute or transportation. Traffic was crazy today, or the metro was so crowded this morning.
Oh, that's really smart. Everyone has to get to work or get around the city somehow.
And number three, recent local news or events, but keep it light and non controversial. Things like, did you see that new restaurant open downtown? Or heard there's a festival this weekend? Or the construction on Main Street is finally done.
Those all seem pretty safe and relatable, but what should we definitely avoid? I'm guessing my conference mistake of sharing financial stress was probably on that list.
Yes, here's the big one to avoid anything about money or personal finances. Don't ask about salaries, rent costs, how much someone paid for something, or their personal age. In many Western cultures, these topics are considered quite private for casual small talk.
That's so interesting because in India, asking someone's age or even salary might be totally normal in family conversations or even with acquaintances.
Exactly. And that's not better or worse, it's just different cultural norms. The key to succeeding in global English is adapting your communication style to the context you're in, not abandoning your own culture, but being aware of the social expectations.
You know what, B? I think I'm actually looking forward to my next How Are You moment. Maybe I'll even seek one out just to practice. Thanks for making this so much clearer and less intimidating.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Remember, everyone, small talk isn't about being fake or superficial. It's about being socially aware and culturally adaptive. Keep practicing these patterns, and we'll catch you next time on English B School.